Hey, Sonny here. So today I'm going to cover the last lesson on intervals. And we are going to cover major seventh and minor seventh interval. The easiest way to understand that is that the seventh note is the last note in the scale before it goes back to the root note. So if you think about it, let's just take the G note for example, the third fret on the low E string. The major seventh is basically the note behind it, with the second fret. Okay. And the and minor seven would be two notes behind the root note, which would be the F note, which is the first fret. So again, third fret is your root note, is a G. The major seventh would be the note right behind it. That would be F sharp. Minor seventh would be two notes behind it. Would be the F note. Now take the same principle. Obviously, you will not play the notes behind it when you form an chord. So you have to think ahead. Let's just say if you play a G note an octave higher, and G note an octave higher would be the fifth fret on the D string. So your major seventh would be the F sharp on the D string, which is the fourth fret. And minor seven would be the third fret on the D string. So if you play the third fret on the E string and the fourth fret on the D string, so you get the major seventh interval between the root note and the major seventh note. Now if you play the third fret on the E string, stay on the root note, and you play the third fret on the D string, you have a minor seventh interval. So it's pretty easy if you think about it. Again, it's just make sure that you understand the major seventh is the note behind the root note. Minor seventh is two notes behind the root note. So those are the two. Now, next thing we want to talk about is seventh chords related to interval major seventh and minor seventh. So we know that the major and minor chords are made up of minor or major third and perfect fifth. So a C minor chord, you will have the majors. A C minor chord, you have the C root note, and then you have the E flat, and also the perfect fifth would be the G note. So that's a C minor chord. C major chord would be your C note. Major third of that would be E note, and a G note, perfect fifth of C. So that would be a C major chord. If you play an octave higher, would be you get your power chord. The power chord, the C power chord at the third position, you have the root note, you have the perfect fifth, the octave of C, the same C note, and major third. Okay. Now, if you take that one chord, let's take that chord and not analyze it. If you add a seventh to it, so let's just say if you want to play a C major seventh chord, basically you just build on it. So you have your C major chord, which is your C note, your major third of C, which is the E note, and a perfect fifth of C would be G note, and then you add a major seventh note to it, which would be B, would be your major seventh. So if you think about it, if this is a C power chord, which has the major third and perfect fifth and an octave of C in there, you just move the C, you just eliminate playing the C octave on the G string at the fifth fret. Instead of playing that, you will play the fourth fret on the G string, which is a half note lower than C. Then you have your C major seventh. So if you play A3, D5, G4, which is major 7, and B5, and you have a C major 7th. So you got C power chord with C power chord, and you switch position like that with C major 7th. Now remember what I say about the minor 7th is to move this another step down. So if you want to play the C minor 7th chord, first of all, let's play the C minor chord first. A C minor chord would be A3, D5, G5, and B4, and the index finger bar down on the high E3. Now that's a C minor chord. A C minor 7th chord, basically you take that same C minor chord, you take out the C octave, move your pinky, and your index finger is already on the 3rd fret on the G string. That's a minor 7th. G3 would be a minor 7th interval. So if you play that way you have a C minor 7th chord. So the notes are A3, D5, G3, B4, and E3. So you add a pinky, just a C minor. Remove your pinky, C minor 7th. It's that simple. Alright, so we cover the major 7th and a and a minor 7th chord. We also have 2 more variations of 7th chord. The 3rd one would be a dominant 7th chord. Don't let the name dominant bothers you. All it is taking the major chord, you add a minor 7th to it. So basically the construction of the chord, you have your root note, you have your major 3rd, perfect 5th, and yet instead of adding major 7th, you add a minor 7th. Then you have your dominant chord. It sounds a little strange. People use dominant chords a lot to switch keys. So a C dominant 7th chord. Let's go back to our C major power chord. Use that example. So you take that same shape. You remove the octave C, and you index finger, you leave it bar where you should be on the 3rd fret, because the G3, the 3rd fret on the G string now is a minor 7th. But your pinky is still on the 5th fret on the B string, which is the major 3rd. So now you have a dominant 7th chord because you have a major 3rd and a minor 7th. And that's a dominant chord. So C major, C dominant 7th. Again, the C dominant 7th is a combination of a major 3rd and minor 7th. Now the last variation of the 7th chord is a C minor major 7th chord. Basically, is a dominant 7th chord reversed. So the composition is made up of the root note. Since it's a minor chord, you have a minor 3rd interval, a perfect 5th, and a major 7th interval. So first, so you know let's just say if we want to play a C minor major 7th. So let's form a C minor power chord first. So you take that C minor 7th power chord, and you know that where the pinky is the octave C, the octave higher than the C note. You have to move that half step down to get major 7th, and everything else stays the same. So we have to kind of move your fingers a little bit, switch your fingering. There's different ways you can play this, but what I do is I play like this. So I have a A3, D5, ring finger on G4, middle finger on B3. I'm sorry, middle finger on B4 as well. And then my index finger is barring down on the E3. So minor, C minor 7th, C minor major 7th. Alright, so again the 4 variants is a C major 7th, which is your major 3rd and the major 7th. You have your C minor 7th, which you have the minor 3rd and a minor 7th interval. C dominant 7th, which would be the major 7th, major 3rd and a minor 7th interval. The very last one, again, we talked about is this is a minor major 7th chord. So you have a C minor major 7th chord. So regular C chord, C minor chord, C major 7, C minor 7th, C dominant 7th, C major minor 7th. Now all those chords are shiftable on that on the A string chord. So the C chord we just learned, you can do the D chord right here. D major 7th. D major chord, D major 7th, D minor chord, D minor 7th, D dominant 7th, and D minor major 7th. So just move up and down like that. Now, if you're playing the chord on the low E string, the finger is a little different, but it's the same concept. If you grasp how you construct the chords together, you can do the same thing on the low E string. So let's just take the A power chord at the 5th position as your example. So a major bar chord at 5th fret would be, you have your E5, A7th, D7, G6, B5, E5. So that's your A major 7th bar chord. Now if you take that, the same concept, if you take the A major bar chord, if you want to do an A major 7th, you have to move your pinky right here, and you have to put it like this. So now you have E5, A7, D6, G6, B5, and E5. So you got your major 7. Now what I usually do when I play a chord here on the E string, actually eliminate the perfect 5th. I just don't play that at all. So I play the root note, the A chord, the A root note, and I play the major 7th note, which is right here, the D7, the D6, and we also play the major 3rd of A, which is the 6th fret on the G, and 5th fret on the B string. And I use the bottom of my index finger muting the A string, so I'm not playing that at all. So I'm only playing the E string, the D string, the G string, and the B string. I still have an A major 7. I'm just taking out the pinky on the 5th fret on the on the 7th fret on the A string. So that's the major chord. Now, same concept. Let's do the A minor bar chord at the same position. The A minor bar chord is you put your index finger covering all the 5th fret, all the way down from the E string to the high E string, and you place your ring finger on the 7th fret on the A string, pinky on the 7th fret on the D string. So this is A minor bar chord. Now if you play A minor 7th chord, you move your pinky. That way your index finger barring the 5th fret on the D string will become your minor 7th. So now you have, with just removing the pinky, you have minor 7th, minor 3rd interval plus the perfect 5th, all in the same chord. So A minor 7, remove the pinky. I'm sorry, A minor chord, remove the pinky is A minor 7th. Okay, again, A major chord, A major 7. That's why I was talking about removing the perfect 5th. A minor chord, remove the pinky, A minor 7th. Okay, same concept. A dominant 7, again is a major 3rd and a minor 7th interval. So let's just play the A major bar chord first. We need a A minor 7, so we'll remove the pinky. We'll keep our ring finger, we'll keep our middle finger on the 6th fret on the G string because that's our major 3rd. So that's our A minor 7th. A dominant 7 is the combination, again, would be the I'm sorry, that was the A dominant 7 I just showed you. Now if you wanted the A minor major 7th, just like the name of the chord is minor major 7th. So you have a minor 3rd and a major 7th. So okay, so minor 3rd, let's do minor chord first. So we have a minor 3rd already. Now we need to add a major 7th, which would be remove the pinky and put my middle finger on the 6th fret on the D string. That would be an A minor major 7th chord. Again, A major chord, A major 7th, A minor chord, A minor 7th, A dominant 7th, and A minor major 7th. So again, it's shiftable on the lower E string. Another one you want to add, another position you want to do is starting the root note on the D string, because the shape is a little different because the B and E string kind of memorize how it shifts up half step from the nut of your guitar. So let's just say if you want to play the G power chord, starting from the D string, you have to play this, right? So you have your D5, G7, B8. So your G7, those are the G power chord right there, a G major. Actually, I'm sorry, that's just a G power chord. Now, if you want to play a G major 7th using that position over there, it's kind of like a bar chord. So you have a D5, and then your ring finger covers all 7th fret of the G, B, and E string. So you have a G major 7th if you played this on the D string. Now, how does that? Well, you got your root note on the D string, which is the 5th fret, and then you have the perfect 5th, 7th fret of your G string. Now, the what I'm barring down on the ring finger, on the 7th fret on the B string, this note right here, that's the major 7th of G, because that's an octave, because that's one note below G. Okay, and then you have the major 3rd on the low high E string. So that's the major 7th chord at that position. And then of course the minor chord would be like this, and then you would place the minor 7th chord. You have the 6th fret. Well, first of all, I'm sorry. On the minor 7th chord, you have the root note, D5, perfect 5th, G7, minor 7th, which is a 6th fret on the B string, okay, and a minor 3rd with 6th fret on the E string. So that would be your G minor 7th chord when you play like that. Another one we can do is a G major. I'm sorry, a G minor major 7th chord would be like this. Okay, why is that? So you have the G5, I'm sorry, D5, G5, G7th, B7th, and high E6. That would be your G minor major 7th chord, because you have your major 7th, which is where your pinky is on the B string 7th fret. And then you have a minor 3rd interval, which is the high E string on the 6th fret with your middle finger. So that's a G minor major 7th. Alright, so the last one, the G minor 7th, actually I'm sorry, a G dominant 7th would be this. It would be D5, root note, G7th, perfect 5th, B6, which is your minor 7th, and you have the E, high E string 7th fret. That would be major 3rd. So that's a dominant chord, because you have major 3rd plus a minor 7th is a dominant. And again, it's shiftable. So that's all the 7th chords and the minor 7th, and major 7th interval. Thanks.